So it's just after 11:30 here in the morning, and I just stopped to take the dry suit off, change the batteries, grab a little snack, and then gonna get back on the water here. Just found a little gravel beach here. So yeah, getting ready to get back on the water. I think I'm not exactly sure what mileage I'm at, but I think I've made about 13 miles to 12, 13 miles a day, somewhere in there. So we're gonna get back at it and make some more miles. All right, now here we are. Now, taking the dry suit off, if I were to fall in, I will be cold. Yeah, I'll be cold. But the temperature right now is in probably around 60. Feels really warm and hot when the sun's out. It's kind of cloudy. When the sun's not out, it can be still somewhat almost chilly. And I'm coming up on the biggest rapid areas, I think, of the trip so far. So maybe should have kept it on. A little rockier in there than I thought it was. We got Beaver Creek right over here. And what Beaver Creek means is we have now made it a total for the entire trip of 45 miles. And that means we have made it approximately 14 and a half today. So up here, it looks like we have a fairly low water bridge. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna be able to get under it or not. Kind of seems like it's gonna be borderline from way back here. So fingers crossed I don't have to get out and portage this, because that will be no fun. So it's tallest, I think, on the far left, but there's rocks in the way, so you won't be able to make it there. On the far right, it looks like there's the most flow and most... So we're gonna have to see if this can work here. I tend to think I'm gonna be able to make it, but it's not by that much. Slow down. that was taking me. It's doing the same thing. Here we go. I was carrying too much momentum there. This is the lowest one I've gone under. But it was successful. Yeah, so the current started taking me kind of not good. This current wasn't so strong to where I couldn't back paddle. So I did that. Normally if you back paddle, you want to turn the whole boat around and paddle upstream. It makes it easier. But it's hard to get this big boat turned around like that. So then I was like, okay, let me get over to the rocks. Then I can kind of guide my way through it, and that's what I did. And it worked out. And once I was able to get as close to these rocks as possible, I was able to kind of get out of the current that was really pushing me towards the center where I really didn't want to be. Up in the distance, I see another low water bridge. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get under that one though. From back here, it appears I'm gonna have to go on the left side. Which portage this one? Right over here to this eddy. Alright, not a bad spot to get out though. This is going to be one of the tougher ones I've done. Donkey here. Sucks. She should be another person. Okay. I got you. I got you. That was definitely the hardest portage. Just over it. Now I'm back in the boat and I'm gonna take off into a rapidy little area right here. I haven't had a chance to look back at the map ahead to see if there's any more low water bridges nearby. But yeah, that one was besides the first, it wasn't in the bridge, the tree pile I had to go over, you know, that was the good thing about this one here is it wasn't hard to get out. That one was tricky to get out, but this one was, it's just hard with one person going down a, I don't know, 5-6 foot drop on the other side of the bridge trying to get back down into the water. That's the tricky part, where you try not to lose anything, try not to flip your boat upside down, try not to damage anything, all that stuff. So if you want to know what I'm doing when I'm not, when I don't have the camera on, I'm usually doing something like this. For the life of me, I cannot remember what made us think that we were wise and we never compromised. For the life of me. I'm usually, you know, singing way too much. Just getting lost in being out here, you know. Just all kinds of random songs. So beautiful. It's sunny. Sunny is really sunny right now. Wish I had my hat, but beautiful. Just beautiful. This up here is Highway 163 and mile marker 46.8 for the trip, so almost 47 miles. About 16 and a half that have been today. Yeah, so this is just another, this bridge is just kind of another mile marker towards where we're trying to get to. But yeah, it's been a good day. That last, those last low water bridges, the one was tricky to get under that I kayaked under. Maybe shouldn't have done that. And the other one was that hard portage. Wasn't so hard getting it up to the road, really. I mean, it wasn't light, but it wasn't extremely difficult. The tricky part was getting it back down to the water, because it was about a 5-6 foot drop straight down. So getting it back down there, and I believe this might be a river access, actually. I'm not sure. Kind of looks like it. drop here. Go right into this. The most flow is over there. Appreciate it. So a gentleman there fishing helped get me on the right line. And yet another little water bridge here. I'm thinking it's on the right, but I'm not sure. New River State Park. Close to find a campsite, folks. Once I get through this. Alright, so we are back in the water now. Back in the kayak. Whew. That was working good until the concrete thing that I was walking on disappeared for like a couple feet. So I fell down and then it came back. But it worked out. Better than taking it all the way around that thing. And I am in look for camp mode at this point. So this stretch since the low water bridge has just been miserable. You have all these sideways shelves at low water are really, really difficult to navigate. They're all going that way too. Those have always been my least favorite kinds of rocks in the river. And they used to get me in trouble. I used to take swims after hitting them. I don't usually do that anymore, but they're just pesky. Just pesky. That's what I'm talking about. These shelves right here, they're 8 feet apart. There's not much. It's hard to maneuver a 14.5-foot boat. So here at camp day 3, I have it halfway set up at this point. Still trying to dry my shoe. And so it's up a fairly steep embankment, probably, I don't know, 6 feet up to get the kayak up here. And then there's just a little shelf and a spot to sit. It's really just enough room for me and my stuff. Really no other room. Can't get another. You couldn't get another tent in here if you wanted to. But if we look up this hill, pretty cool. Cool rocks and stuff. Yeah, it's nice to have a campsite with a tree or two. So I just reached a point where I just need to get off the water. I was exhausted, and the last couple miles of going through these shoals has just been exhausting. It's just been rough. So, and at this point, I only got about, I think, either 6.5 or 7.5 miles left tomorrow. So it's not a whole lot of miles. So not a big deal on the miles tomorrow, even dealing with it like this, and I'll be refreshed in the morning. So here at camp, and just listening to some music, but I'm getting ready to try cheesy pepperoni pizza bowl. So yeah, that ought to be interesting. I guess we're gonna find out. I am starving. I haven't eaten anything all day except for 2 Swiss rolls, and that's about it. So, well, wait, no, I did have a plain bagel this morning, and I was so lazy I didn't even put anything on it. I just ate them plain. But yeah, so I'm getting ready to start this. Interested to see how this is. Hopefully it's good. We are boiling. Ow. We are definitely boiling. Let's pour this carefully. Try not to pour it on myself. That would be unpleasant. All right. I'm going to stir this pizza bowl up. Look at that. Doesn't that look like something? All right. Then we're going to shake it. And it says wait 9 minutes, so we're gonna let that cook and see how it is. All right, so it's been 10 minutes or 12 minutes or something, I don't know. We're gonna open it up. Get that look in there. Look at that. Look at that cheesy goodness. I don't know how they managed to make the dough not like gooey and soft. It's sort of halfway crunchy, kind of like a pizza crust would be. Pretty interesting. Is it my favorite? No. Is it my least favorite? No. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, fettuccine Alfredo is my 10, okay? Chicken Alfredo by Mountain House is my 10.0. So if I'm basing off of that scale, this is probably a 7. So it's still good and better than average. Kind of a neat part I found about solo adventures. as my first solo adventure, so to speak, is when you're looking for a camp spot, you just got to find something that'll work for you. You don't got to think about anybody else. Literally got to think about yourself. So this campsite is a good example of that. There's literally room for me. So now I still have my dry bag shoe, and I wanted to explore a little bit up this hill, but I don't know how good of an idea it is with this on. Yeah, I'm just kind of hanging out here, just not really doing a whole lot, just really just sitting down, hanging out, listening to music, and making sure everything is good and ready for tomorrow, so I have a real easy time, because there's a chance it might be raining in the morning. So I just want to make sure that if it is raining, I have everything hatched down well tonight, and I have no issues getting everything ready to go quickly in the morning in the rain. So with that, I'm going to have the dry suit in the tent with me tonight, so I can put it on from the tent, don't have to leave, all that stuff like that I haven't been doing, just because it's kind of tight in that tent. But I'm going to do some of that stuff tonight to help me with that. So other than that, I'm just still kind of just hanging out, enjoying the evening. Cannot get a fire going. This is not... I hear voices. I don't know where they're coming from. This is not a good location to do a fire, unfortunately. Not gonna be able to get a fire going. Just there's nowhere to do it here. So that kind of sucks. 3 nights on the river and no fire. But sometimes that's what you got to deal with. The first night I probably could have done one, but gosh, I was so tired. I just wanted to sleep. And it would have been a good night to do it, because it got down to the mid-30s. Last night got down to right at about 50, and it felt colder than that, though. I think it's because all the dew everywhere just made it feel colder than it was. Tonight's supposed to get down to about 55, so a little bit better. I'm sure I'll have to deal with, and probably some rain. So hopefully the rain holds off till I get off the water tomorrow. But if not, it's rain, we'll deal with it. The dry suit for a trip like this, the dry suit's important. It's so cold in the morning time. The water isn't frigid. The water's cold, but it's not so cold that you can't recover. But it is so cold that you can't recover possibly early in the morning time, before it starts warming up. But once it warms up, you get so dang hot that you gotta take it off. Today got up to like 72, 73 degrees and sunny. You don't need the dry suit with that. So I've really found myself having to use it in the morning times, and then take it off in the afternoon, because it just gets too hot. So sometimes on trips, the way they work out, you have to do that. So it is what is it? It is October 18th. So don't judge me for how long it takes me to get this video out. Okay, so it's October 18th. So, you're getting into the time of year where it gets cold a lot of times in the evenings, and maybe even stays cold in the daytime. But it's warming up nicely in the daytime, but it's getting pretty chilly at night. A little bit of a break from that tonight, so that'll be nice. And I started up in Boone, so I started in high country in the Boone, and it's gonna be colder there just because you're up higher. And right now I'm in West Jefferson, which is still pretty high up, but not as high as Boone. So I think that's part of the reason it's not going to be quite as cold. And just changing forecasts as well. So I'm here in the tent as the evening's winding down. It's getting dark out. Gonna go to bed pretty early here tonight. Feeling pretty tired. Good day on the water. The last 3 days have been good. They've all been hard, but they've been good. So tomorrow, just got about a little less than 7 miles to the takeout tomorrow, and Oh, hang on. These the shoals that we're in now, I think are going to continue for a little bit. Hopefully not too long, because they are rough at low water to paddle through. Because you have the horizontal rocks, giant rocks, under a large portion of it. So why it's so difficult is you have to read, it's hard to read the river like that, because you'll see a little bulge in the water, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate between the horizontal rocks or just a normal rock. But these are like all horizontal rocks out here. So once you get into paddling it and maneuvering through it, you'll realize you have to go cut sharp left, right? And then immediately turn sharp right for about 7 feet, okay? And then immediately cut sharp left again, okay? And you cut sharp left for another 6 feet, and then you cut sharp right again. The problem is, this boat is 14.5 feet. It doesn't fit. It doesn't do that. So a lot of times you end up getting stuck on these rocks because you just can't maneuver this thing like that. Other times you'll see me pick up speed when I know it's there and I'm trying to just power over it. And a lot of times that actually works. But it's hard to maneuver through stuff like this in a boat like this, in water levels like this. And that's all this is right out here. Low water bridges. I knew I was getting into the low water bridges. It was one of the things I was excited about, believe it or not. So I've portaged over a bunch of them. I've gone under a few of them, 2 or 3 of them I've gone under. So like I've portaged under, and others I've been able to get under, kayak under. But that, for this river, all depends on the water levels with a lot of these bridges, whether you can do that or not. The 2 or 3 that I was able to paddle under, give this river a little bit more water. You ain't doing that for any of these. Yeah, there's a lot of low water bridges, and that's part of what makes this so exhausting out here. But just being out here on a solo adventure, it's a heck of a lot of fun. And yeah, so I'm just excited for tomorrow and finishing up this trip. Campsites have been, kind of different from what I'm used to. The first one was up a creek, which I've hardly ever had luck looking up a creek. And it was just at that time, the first day, I hadn't paddled that long, but it was getting dark out and I needed a place to camp. And a little strip island in the middle of that little creek, that sucker worked. Now, if there had been rain in the forecast, I would not have been able to camp there. Camp 2 was right below the cow pasture last night, and the cows were literally looking at me, so that was pretty funny. And don't love the smell of the cows, but I did get a new friend through all that, so that was pretty cool. But that was just a gravel bar, sand bar, but it was raised up off the ground probably 3-4 feet, so it wasn't a horrible spot as far as being off the ground. And it served its purpose, but it's really sandy, and I don't love it like that. There's a road on this river, almost follows the entire thing, which makes it hard to find campsites. On top of that, you have houses all over the place, but it's not like, most of these roads aren't crazy busy roads, but they're busy enough, right? So anyway, camp tonight. I was exhausted. I just want to get off the river, and I found a spot perched up on the right bank. I was like, I think I can get out there. Looks like it goes up to a little bit of a shelf. So I got out, checked it out, and the initial spot I found, which is right next to this spot that I'm at, was like, that doesn't really work. No real privacy at all. I don't really like it. But then I noticed right beside it was the spot I'm at. I was like, okay, this spot, not completely private, but it's got a little bit more privacy. Got some trees around it. There is a house right across the river. You're going to get that a lot of places on this river. But right beside me goes straight up to a cliff, which is, I believe, the New River State Park. I believe I'm actually camping in the New River State Park. But the place that I camped, I don't think anyone's ever camped here before, judging by just the looks of it. But it works. I'm able to get one tent in here, and it should work out pretty good. And it's got a cool, if I wanted to go on a hike, that'd be a cool hiking spot, but with my temporary shoe, it's just makes the grip thing not very good. So I don't think it's safe to do it up that big hill, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah, just a little quick look around the disaster I have going on in this tent. I have a lot in this tent, and the reason is because in the morning it might be raining. If it's raining, I want to be able to get everything ready from the tent before I have to get out of it. So that is the reason to have so much in here. So here you go. So I got my big dry bags, all my charging stuff, dry suit, jackets right over there, and all kinds of other gear, bear spray. That's my bagel for the morning. Oh yeah. And but yeah, I got everything ready to go for the morning, and so I should be able to get almost everything ready from the tent, which is the plan tomorrow, with potential rain in the forecast. And I want to get on the river by 7:30 and see what the rest of this trip has in store. Everything was so wet. It just made everything feel so cold out. I was so cold. I just couldn't get going at all yesterday. And this morning, there's no dew. Everything's dry. It feels warm. It's 55-ish and it feels warm. 55 isn't that cold, but it feels warm. I guess the point I'm trying to get across is 50 felt really cold yesterday. So yeah, I'm gonna start cleaning stuff up here in the tent, and got a couple hours till sunlight, and get in the water when we can. This is a true breakfast of champions. Just a plain bagel. So it is about 7:06. I got the kayak down to the water. It's not as dark as it looks in this camera. The GoPros always make it look dark. But I'm just waiting on there to be enough light to be able to paddle. I'm hoping in the next 15 minutes I'll be able to be on the water. So I'm just down at the water with my kayak. Ready to go. So it is 7:15 in the morning. And I think we're about to put in. I can see better than the camera can see right now. I'm just sitting in the kayak ready to push off. I'm not sure what to do with my hat though. It's not that cold, but I still like to have it. I think I packed it away in a bag somewhere, but yeah, so I'm gonna give it probably just a couple more minutes and then we're gonna head off towards that low water bridge. All right guys, I think we're bright enough. Let's do it. Day 4 on the water. It's hard to see these lines, but it's not really because it's that dark out. It's still kind of dark out. Just because these freaking sideways rocks in this stretch. Yeah. Paddling first thing in the morning, the first glimpse of daylight is pretty special. I do hear the sound of running water right up here. Alright, low water bridge is becoming a little bit closer, and from back here I cannot tell which direction's better to go around it, left or right. So we're gonna have to get a little closer before we figure that out. I was very deliberate in getting out early because it doesn't look like it goes to a complete area stop, so I wanted to go ahead and get out to be safe. How I wanted it to. That is a private bridge back there. Some of these portages have been on private bridges. So I'm not going to put the skirt on, fully on, unless I think I'm coming up on a rapids, because 8/10 of a mile, I have another low water bridge listed. Moving water here, I decided to put the skirt on the rest of the way as the next low water bridge comes into sight. And I would say it's looking like a portage as well. Alright, what do we think here? Left or right? There's a beach on the left. The right might be the shorter portage. I think we're gonna go left. Side creek right there to the right as well. This is not a fun one. I'm gonna have to do this a little different. Oh, did not work how I needed it to. Oh, it did not. Woo, woo, woo. This ain't easy. I think I have it up high enough now. So I set out with a question, and the question was, is the Sout Fork New River paddleable in long sections, even though you have a bunch of low water bridges that you need to go around? Is it realistically paddleable? And I'm out here solo, so just think that I'm just me. I don't have anybody else to help with these portages. I don't have anyone else to help lift the weight of how heavy the kayak is when it's full and trying to get it around. And back there, how difficult it was to get the kayak up on that ledge was extremely difficult, just myself. With the leverage I had and where I was standing, it wasn't easy. So with me being able to do that and done the rest of these portages, the answer I think is yes. Should you do it with less than 2 people? Probably not. But that just goes to show you, if I can do it by myself, then definitely other people can do it with 2 people. You gotta be safe. You gotta exercise a lot of caution. You gotta be really smart with when you're portaging, when you can still paddle under, when you're lining the boat under like I did a few times. You gotta be really smart with all that stuff. So for instance, I did not line the boat under any of these bridges if it was like above, if the water was gonna be above my knees. I didn't do that. So you got to take a lot of that into account when you're doing this. It's not just, oh, I don't think I can paddle under it, but I can line it under. Yeah, but if it's 3-4 feet deep, you really don't want to, because you're putting yourself in some unnecessary risk by doing that. But yeah, so made the portage. Beautiful out here. I'm not really too sure. I think there's a few rapids gonna be left on the day, and hopefully some more good scenery. But this is a pretty river. It is. Alright, so we have running water right here. Try to figure out the best line to go. There we are. So I have bottomed out. They're part of this river where there's just not a good line to get through. Made it. Wind's actually getting a little bit chilly on the ears right now. We got good current right here with the paddle. I'm going about 5.5, which is the fastest I've pretty much gone in the entire trip. It'll probably be short-lived though. So at this point I have about 1.5 miles left, and it's not taking it easy on me here towards the end, that's for sure. This river is making me earn every single bit I have paddled of it. So my first solo expedition like this has definitely had its challenges. So we start out day one. I don't get on the water till 5:30, basically, maybe even a little after 5:30. Noticed right away that it was paddleable, but challenging. It was going to be challenging. So I just wanted to make as many miles as I could on day one before I found a camp. And I ended up finding a camp up a creek just a little bit. Ended up being in the middle, the little island of a creek. Set up camp there, and it worked out pretty well. It was a pretty cool little spot. Pretty cold that night. Got down to the mid-30s, and definitely felt it that morning and a little bit that night, though I stayed plenty warm. So day two was a big day. I knew that I needed to make a lot of miles, and I also knew that there were going to be a lot of bridge portages and stuff like that to attend with, and it did not disappoint. Had a lot of maneuvering, a lot of bridges to go around, some I could barely get under. Just ended up being a really challenging day, a lot of maneuvering, but it was a beautiful, gorgeous day. Saw some really nice scenery, and was a really enjoyable day on the water. And then night two was, I ended up getting camped inside of that cow pasture. Ended up meeting some cow friends. I had one cow friend in particular that I met, and ended up being a good night there. Ended up being fine. It just it got down to 50, just 50 that night, but it was really dewy, which made it feel quite cold. So because of that dew, I had a tough time just motivating myself to get up and get going, because it felt way colder than 50 degrees that morning. But finally I was able to get things together, got in the water maybe a little after 7:30, so it's still pretty early for when it gets light out. And that was yesterday. Day three was another, it's the whole first probably 3/4 of the day. The river opened up pretty well. I didn't have crazy maneuvering. I was able to see the lines pretty easy, and it was enjoyable. I did have some bridge portages as well to do, but towards the end of the day is where it got a little more difficult. And not only did I have the bridge portages, but I had to contend with a lot of maneuvering. I got up to the state park, New River State Park area. The whole long stretch before that rapid that gentleman helped guide me through it was brutal. Just brutal trying to maneuver through all that, all those horizontal shelves. And then once I got around the corner, it was more the same thing, the exact same thing, just continued. And I was looking for a campsite, and then I finally found something on River Right, which is where I was last night, up on a shelf, and actually ended up working pretty good. It was pretty comfortable. Slept very well last night. Got down to the mid-50s last night, but it was not a cold 50. Cold 50s. It felt really, really nice. So yeah, it felt really, really nice and really comfortable. Here this morning, put in the water 7:15 in the morning, as it's just still pretty dark out, really. Within 15 minutes, no, within 45 minutes, I had done 2 fairly difficult low water bridge portages, and there's been some difficult maneuvering today, some little decent rapids, some low water to contend with. Been a good day though. So right up until this point, I'm less than a mile from the Sheets access, So almost there, excited to be there, and yeah, so what a good trip. What an awesome first solo expedition. We got Bear Creek flowing in here on the right. I don't know if I was able to pick it up, but pretty exciting to see that, because we got a bridge right up here, and this bridge up here signifies the takeout and the end of a 60-mile solo expedition here on the Sout Fork New River. Literally right under the bridge. So that's it. The parking area is up there on top of that hill. I'm gonna take some time, unload it, walk stuff up there, and what a great trip. And until next time.